order for the Town of Basalt Planning and Zoning Commission meeting Tuesday, October 4th. Can we have a roll call, please?
Yes, Bill Marin,
Yo.
Kyle Oberketter,
Here.
Eric Vosek,
Here.
and Rob Levitt, absent. Cindy Hirschfield. Here. You have a quorum.
Excellent. First item on the agenda is a public hearing on 174 Original Road, an amendment to the site plan and slope review approvals. So I will turn it over to staff and I'm assuming applicant. Or
Patrick, do you want to come up to the table so your comments can be heard on the mic? Let me share my screen here, just a quick second. So this is a public hearing on an application that was submitted by 174 Original LLC. They're requesting to amend their site plan and slope review approvals to amend the grading concept that was approved for the new single-family residence being constructed at 174 Original Road. As background, the applicant received a site plan and slope review approval from P&Z to construct a new single-family residence on the vacant lot earlier this year. The property subject to the application, we've got a vicinity map in your packet, but it's located right here just above the Pine Ridge Townhomes. It's on the east side of Highway 82, and you access it by going up Original Road and then coming off this access, and there's two vacant lots. You approve single-family houses on both of those lots. As part of the amendment request, the applicants would like to do more grading outside the foundation area of the structure. Let me show you this. This was the original grading plan that was in the application that was approved, and there wasn't a whole lot of grading that was shown outside of the foundation of the structure, but the applicants would like to do more grading to create more of a flat bench area in the backyard of the structure to the west. This would include the need for several small retaining walls that you can see meandering through the property. In reviewing the request, the applicants had initially submitted a request for more of a linear retaining wall to do kind of more of a sheer drop-off, and staff was concerned about that and asked the applicants to work on a plan that was less impactive. So the applicants came back with this plan with multiple smaller retaining walls. They're rock retaining walls, and they meander through the site a bit more with the topography of the site. So staff is accepting of the revised grading concept that the applicants have provided, subject to the draft conditions that you have in the resolution that's in your packet. And those include the applicant revising their construction management plan to include a rockfall kind of containment plan to make sure when they're constructing these retaining walls that we don't have any rocks and debris falling down the slope further. Other conditions that we have include that the applicants comply with the landscaping plan that they've submitted and that's in your packet. That includes a limited area of turf and more native grass throughout the property. This is important because during the original review, there was a soils report that indicated that they wanted to limit irrigation as much as possible to avoid impacting the hydrocompactive soils that are in the area. So the applicants have limited that turf area in their proposed plan. So staff would suggest this evening taking applicant comments, taking public comments because it's a public hearing, and then providing commission discussion. Ultimately, if you're comfortable with the adjustment that's proposed in the conditions, you could approve the resolution that you have in your packet. We have Patrick from F&M Architects here this evening, representing the applicant group. Do you have additional comments you'd like to provide for the commission?
No additional comments. I just want to thank James for his patience and helping this, and or I guess I would just like to reiterate that this is only the backyard grading. None of the architecture that was previously viewed has changed, or the hardscaping. This is just the landscaping. And yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Open it up for commissioner questions. Bill?
Do you have a sense of what the vertical square footage of additional rock wall that's added to this is? You know, since you're gonna revegetate or devegetate so far down the hill, it will be visible until that stuff grows back in, so a sense of how much area of wall, vertical area of wall that is, would be very helpful.
Yeah, sorry, Mr. Maron, I don't have that number available, but this rock wall will be carefully landscaped with some planting as well, so it won't just be, you won't be looking just at rock.
Wait, I don't understand. Generally, when they do the rock wall, they're big boulders. So does that mean there's vegetation in front of it, or is it gonna have pockets of planting areas within the wall itself?
Correct, it'll have some pockets. It won't just be a series of 4-foot boulders. It'll be a combination of some large 4-foot boulders and some 3-foot boulders, and it won't be just vertical. It'll kind of be spread out a little bit. So we want to allow the native grasses and things to take over within the wall.
Got it. That's all I got. Questions?
Cindy?
I don't have any questions.
Kyle?
Nothing.
I'm trusting in it, but any impact, you know, in having to build the wall as far as erosional qualities coming down the slope, or is that all covered in the plan? I don't know, who would that be more for?
Well, as part of the CMP, they have to provide erosion control plan, and then also re-veg any disturbed area. So ultimately, you know, it would limit disturbance.
Okay. Great. Any other questions? If no other questions, we'll open this up for a public hearing at 6:10. If you want to, no one in the audience, but I don't know if there's anybody online.
So if you would like to join in the conversation and make comments on this application, you could call in to the phone number 719-359-4580 and enter the webinar ID, which is 899-0815-5739.
Thank you, James. We'll give just another minute to see if anybody logs on, walks in.
You're at a minute there.
All right. With that being said, with no one coming to the mic, no one logging in, we'll close the public hearing at 6:11. Commissioner comments, Kyle?
Nothing.
Nothing? Cindy?
Nothing.
Bill?
Yeah, first comment is for staff. When you make the packets for us that have grading plans, I can't read the numbers.
Okay.
So if we could get it so you can actually read the numbers in the packet, because when you compress it, it degrades all that stuff, and I had to guess how tall the walls are.
Okay.
I couldn't see the grading numbers. But my sense of this is that the walls are relatively tall, and I was worried about the visual impacts, aside from the fact that I live in the subdivision next door. It will be visible from the street. And because enough of the downslope vegetation will be cut. When I did a wall like that, the town made me revegetate with mature trees. Not mature trees, but trees that would become mature trees to hide that. So I would like to see a little more in the conditions that speak specifically to what they're going to do, as opposed to vague statements as to it will have this and it will have that. I think we should pin that down as exactly what that will be, and it has a fair chance of hiding some portion of the rock wall. That's my only comment.
Just piggybacking on that, there was the verbal kind of talk of the natural vegetation, which I think makes sense on that slope, especially knowing how you want to retain it and the steepness with the vegetation. You just want that to be clarified a little bit more, like what having scrub oak in front of the wall or something like that, that would kind of mimic and hide the wall a little bit.
Or exactly what their revegetation measures would be, based with an eye towards how big it will get at maturity and hide a portion of it, because there's 2 tiers of walls, so it's going to be like 8 feet of wall at some point, and so that's pretty visible. And so, I'm looking at the landscape plan, and there's one big tree in there, and that's that thing, yeah. But there's a fair amount of other stuff.
Is that a tree on what would be the left of the visual? Yeah.
Right here, yes, those are trees, this is a tree. These are existing trees, I believe.
Yeah, but those are pretty far down the hill, so, I don't know. The trees on the hillside there aren't that tall.
With maturity maybe, but yeah.
Well, no,
They have to get big, yeah.
they're 300 years old and
And
they're
they're
15 feet tall, so,
junipers, yeah.
yeah, that's as tall as they'll get.
So would you encourage requiring additional trees in this area?
Yeah,
Species that-
it's a double-edged sword, because you have to irrigate those too, and we're trying not to irrigate them, but that's downhill from the foundation, so it won't impact the hydrocompactive or hydroexpansive soils around there. But yes, I think it should have more downslope vegetation than is being shown.
I mean, they're gonna have to have temporary irrigation to get the seed started.
Yeah,
anyway.
all of it, yeah. But I think it should have, since that's quite a bit of rock retaining, and it's pretty close and directly visible from the highway, so it would be nice if it was hidden a little more.
So, Bill, it looks like condition number, oh, this might be old. Looks like condition number 9 says the retaining walls won't exceed 3 feet in height. Is that the old?
That's from the original approval. The applicants have proposed that the new retaining walls will not exceed 4 feet in height.
Yeah, so there's two layers of wall, so that will be 8 feet. At some point, at some angle, it would be 8 feet of rock. So I think we could be a little more specific, and I'm sure staff can come up with some language, that, to mitigate, as you know where I'm coming from on it.
Sure.
So this being said, are we ready to entertain a motion?
Yeah, I'll make that motion to recommend as written with the addition of the vegetation language discussed.
So we have a first on a motion with amended language in regards to vegetation.
So does that become a staff approval then? Or do they have to come back for the final language?
What if we suggest some language to you right now, and you can see if that is agreeable?
I trust staff to come up with language that would be sufficient to mitigate what the concerns are.
The original condition required the applicant to come back with a landscaping plan to be approved by the town planner.
Okay.
That was in the original approval, not the
Yeah.
proposed reso you've got in front of you.
I just thought it would be nice to limit our triple dipping on a project for us.
Right, that's what I don't want. I don't want it to have to come back here. So I
No,
just
that's
want to make sure that this
That's what I'm
is-
saying. Yeah, I think staff can handle it from here. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, I guess however that's worded then. I guess
So we have a first, do we have a second? We can modify the motion or move on to a second motion if you want.
I'll second as long as it doesn't have to come back here. That's all I want to make sure. I don't want to hold them up. I just,
Fair enough.
Yeah, that's where I was leading up to.
okay. I just-
We have a first, we have a second. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, good luck.
Thank you.
Yeah. Next item, number 3A, is an Eagle County referral in regards to a consolidated special use permit application on Highway 82.
Yes, let me please share my screen, just a quick second. Sorry, I got jumbled up here. But this item is a county referral request from Eagle County. And let me go back into the packet materials from today. There we go. This item is an Eagle County referral. It's on an application for the property owner at 2129 Highway 82. It's in the Laura J. Estates, and it's a request to convert the existing house on the property to an accessory dwelling unit and construct a new single-family residence. The property is located right here. This is on the east side of Highway 82, and you've got the church and Christian Academy down here. You've got across the highway the Cypress Meadows single-family area, and so this is in Laura J. Estates as you kind of come off Highway 82. The property is almost 7 acres. It's outside the town's urban growth boundary, but in the town's 3-mile planning area. And under the Eagle County zoning, the property is considered non-conforming due to its size and requires a special review for an accessory dwelling unit. Staff has provided a draft letter that's in your packet, but let me show you the site plan first. This is the existing single-family residence right here. And so the applicant proposes to extend the driveway up here and build a new single-family house on the site. This current house that's proposed to be the ADU is about 1,500 square foot, and it's got a small garage attached to it. As I noted, staff has provided a draft letter that's in your packet. The draft letter, let me bring it up for you here. The proposed density of a single-family house and an ADU on the 7-acre parcel, and identifies it as a rural density that's appropriate outside the urban growth boundary. This is a similar finding to what the P&Z has made in the past on subdivisions like the 10-acre PUD, which was a single-family and an ADU on 2-acre lots. And so this is a larger 7-acre lot with the same type of density. The draft letter also encourages Eagle County to consider adding the town's limit in terms of residential square footage. The town has the 5,000 square foot gross limitation on any property in town, and given its proximity to town, staff concluded that the town would encourage applying that maximum square footage limit to this lot. The additional comments would include that the town encourage Eagle County to study the need for installation of additional vegetation and vegetative screening in front of the house to minimize visual impacts from Highway 82, similar to what we were just talking about related to the other property. And then we noted in the letter that the town is supportive of requiring the proposed single-family residence to satisfy Eagle County's wildfire mitigation requirements, which are pretty stringent and pretty similar to the town of Basalt's. So staff would suggest discussing the letter and considering it. P&Z has a couple options. You could recommend and direct staff to send the letter as drafted, or P&Z could suggest amendments to the letter and direct staff to send an amended letter. We invited the applicants this evening. Let me see, nobody has popped on the Zoom. We always invite the applicants on a referral, but we suggest that it's not mandatory, and they can show up if they'd like to answer questions.
Thanks, James. Questions, comments, thoughts? Kind of open forum, I guess.
I have a couple questions. What is the legal or technical definition of an accessory dwelling unit?
Well, it varies from town of Basalt to Eagle County. In the town of Basalt, it's required to be deed restricted, and basically in the town of Basalt, one of the two residences on the property has to be occupied 9 months out of the year. Eagle County also requires a deed restriction on their ADUs, but I don't believe it requires them to be to be occupied 9 months out of the year, as the town's does.
And there's nothing, so it doesn't actually need to be attached to
No.
another, like anything could be, and there's not a size limit to it?
Well, there are size limits in the town of Basalt. Our size limit is 1,000 square foot, but Eagle County's size limit's larger than the
Okay.
town's. Yeah. In terms of accessory, accessory dwelling units can be the smaller unit on the same property as another unit.
And in this case, what advantage do the applicants, or would the applicants get from calling this an accessory dwelling unit and a single-family residence rather than just having two houses on the property?
The advantage is they get to keep it. Otherwise, they'd have to tear it down and just do one single family on the,
Oh, because it's only zoned for one,
yeah, because
I
it's
see.
a non-conforming lot
okay.
size-wise.
Okay.
My only real concerns with it were screening and wildfire, and we've already talking about that. How closely does Eagle County's wildfire requirements match our own?
They have a lot of requirements related to the buffer area and clearing around your residence. I am pretty sure that they also have material limitations for exterior materials. I know they have guidelines anyway for those. And so those are similar aspects to what we have in our town mitigation
But
requirements.
they make no mention of like the urban wildfire interface codes or anything like that.
I can research that. I think they use those as guidelines.
Okay. So it isn't required to be sprinkled.
Not,
I think so.
not unless it's over a certain size.
Yeah. Because the reason I'm bringing all this up is because the fire came really close to it when the Lake Christine
Mhm.
fire came,
Yeah,
like within a couple hundred yards of that spot, so.
sure.
Just gonna throw this out there, maybe we wanna like recommend that they consider sprinkling it just because of the fire history in the vicinity? Not, it's,
You could, yeah.
up to all of us, really, if we wanna.
Is any other property right there sprinkled like that?
No, because they're really old.
Okay,
They've all been around there a long time, up to including mine, but when it was burning, I
okay,
believe
so
it
you're
was-
just saying for the new home?
They're just for the new home,
They have the
yeah.
opportunity.
It's not really like a requirement, but it's
Yeah,
a really good idea.
Suggestion.
It's a really good idea.
yeah,
Hint, nudge, nudge.
yeah.
In that vein, are the Eagle County Sustainable Building Guidelines similar to ours, or?
We share a climate action plan.
Okay.
Mhm.
Thoughts, questions, additions? So, do we wish to amend the letter with Bill's suggestion? Do we want to keep the letter, and in your email, you can put that in there like that as a thought?
This is not a hill I choose to die on, you know, so
Yeah,
it's like,
I mean-
it was just a thought.
It's a good thought. I mean, I don't know.
Wouldn't you think they're thinking of that anyway? I mean, anybody building a new house at this point,
Sprinkling
wouldn't
is
you wanna?
really expensive.
It's pretty.
Oh, really
yeah,
expensive.
it's pretty
Oh.
expensive.
You're gonna avoid it unless you have to do it.
Okay.
Yeah, but
I mean, yes.
got
Or
it.
you're
Let's
really
find out.
worried about the Lake Christine fire. and
Most
you want to
likely,
say-
like, again, if your house gets in Lake Christine fire, it's gone anyways. Like, sprinkling is really not gonna save your
True.
trout.
Mm.
It'll save it in the internal fire, but, I'll put a motion to send as is.
fine with me.
First, I'm assuming that's a second from
I'll
Bill.
second, yeah.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion approved.
6:30.
6:30, we're on target, so, Commissioner comments, staff updates.
Okay, I just want to bring up, this is totally is a sidetrack, but because we were talking about the wildfire thing, I just learned that there are these, I forget the name for them now, but they're actually these shields that you can wrap around buildings to insulate them from flames. You guys know that?
No?
Flame return.
I was interviewing the head of the 10th Mountain Hut Association about something, and we were talking about wildfire mitigation. And they got a grant from some organization in Colorado to purchase these, you know, like picture like a big Mylar type of wrap you put around, and so now they have them cached by the huts. And then I looked it up. I think it's called a loom or something.
How
and-
long does it take to wrap a single-family home in a?
Yeah, I know. I mean, they're pretty big. You know, yeah, you would definitely need time to do that. But I mean, if you know, there's certainly houses that are the size
Like, the
of the
10th Mountain people are
of the
gonna run out to the
huts.
huts and.
No, they said that they, you know, if the wildland firefighters, like, you know, are there, they would have the time to do it. Anyway, I just thought it was a really cool concept. I didn't know about it.
You know, when a fire really gets going, I mean, engine blocks melt.
Yeah, it's thousands
What
of
melts?
degrees.
Engine blocks.
Engine blocks,
Yeah.
oh, yeah.
It's hot. Anyway,
I have a question regarding the irrigation that was just getting installed on, what road was that? Sorry.
East Valley Road there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it not one of our goals to use less water? I mean, that's a big project.
Which one are you talking about?
East Valley Road, the park that's there that borders East Valley Road as you go into like the Willits Whole Foods, has been getting a large irrigation project installed. And I don't know the history behind it, but it seems like that grass has done great since I've lived here for 7 years, even in dry area. Is that just a public works director project?
My understanding is it's a replacement of irrigation, so they already have irrigation there, but they've had troubles with it, so, but I'm not entirely 100%.
that being said, new irrigation systems are a lot more water efficient than older ones.
But not more efficient than zero irrigation.
This is true. This is true.
Yeah.
So it's a replacement.
That's my understanding, yeah.
So one thing that's happening is we're embarking on a study, and it's called a financial sustainability study for our parks and open space. We have multiple systems, these irrigation systems, playgrounds and whatnot that are aging. And some of them we've been lucky to avoid catastrophe with. Some are coming up with that have major expenses. So we're embarking on this study to kind of do a master plan of our financial responsibilities going forward, particularly as we have these nice new parks coming up along the way. This happened before that, but it would probably be on the list anyway. But part of that plan as well is to figure out what parks are priority for what kind of uses and where we can do any type of xeriscaping and reduce irrigation needs, so.
At some point, we have to get used to brown grass.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Or put the fake turf down.
well, yeah, but
I thought it looks fine at Butch's.
Surprisingly nice.
Yeah.
Surprisingly?
I mean,
I thought from what the sample they brought in, I didn't doubt that it would look fine.
That being said, I have no irrigation in my backyard, and it's still green
yeah.
this year,
First
Yeah.
time in a decade.
probably.
Yeah.
Okay, well, other staff updates. So as we move into 2023, we wanted to offer the P&Z the opportunity for some training and kind of maybe updates, we could call it as well. We could schedule, I think you guys all got a copy of this Colorado Municipalities League magazine, and this organization does municipal education, so they do things like board trainings. What does it mean to be a P&Z commissioner? What does it mean to be on town council? What are the roles? How to have productive meetings. So we wanted to offer to schedule one of those trainings in the future. That's a good thing when you have new members coming on board, hopefully. The other thing we're looking at is doing an update and kind of giving you guys an info session on what our new sustainable building regulations actually are and what that means. So if you're getting questions, you can know what we're talking about and just in general know as well. So we'll look for some future dates to schedule those if you're amenable to that. In other news, you were asking about the Midland Streetscape project, and we're looking at having an actual presentation update on that at your next meeting, hopefully. We've been waiting to do an update on that basically because the next big step that you'll know about is the construction schedule. So we'll bring in the current design, which is what's on the wall over there, but we'll have some photos to show you as well. The construction schedule, and hopefully we'll have some semblance, a very rough draft of what our outreach and marketing campaign might look like for 2023 as well for that. And then lastly on my list is we are looking to do a tribute to Gino at the October 25th City Council meeting, Town Council meeting. So you are encouraged to attend if you like. Because that will also be a date that Town Council is getting updated on the Streetscape project to put those together. And those are the updates that I have. Did you have anything, James?
Yeah, at the next meeting, you'll be seeing an application for an amendment to the Basalt Business Center East PUD to add a use of domestic abuse shelter for consideration. So we wanted to give you the heads up on that.
Which project is that?
It's the Basalt Business Center East, which is on East Cody Lane across in South Side
Okay.
there. So you'll be seeing that application come forth. Staff is also working on some other smaller applications that are in as well that you'll see probably in October and November, probably more in November.
Great. Any word on when they might start across the street?
Well, they're still dealing with the Sand District on the the lightning bolt connection for the sewer connection. And so we need to kind of figure that out. The council approved some deal points, and now it has to go back to the Basalt Sanitation District to agree or adjust those deal points.
Do they actually own the property already? Has the sale gone through?
No, they're still under contract.
Okay, that's what I thought. And with the streetscape thing, how did they decide between, the last I saw it, they had those 3 things with the very confusing names, and so how did they decide which of those to focus on?
Mhm. So all of the public input was taken based on those 3 options, and
Were you
parts-
at the follow-up meeting? That may be why.
I missed one when I was gone in
Okay,
August.
that would be, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I can see why you're very confused then.
Yeah. The short answer is elements from 2 of the options came together into this current option
Okay,
based on feedback.
so they're down to 1 now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's at 30% design, which means that it's far enough along that we have an idea about the materials and can start pricing for construction. So it's a major milestone.
About infrastructure, I'd be really interested if it's not here or in Aspen, but I know like a tour of the wastewater treatment plant. I know they do like the class up there where you can go to each,
Uh-huh.
and it'd be cool.
I did that, through the Citizens Academy up there.
So I'm glad you brought up the Citizens Academy, because I was wondering if we should start something like that here.
I thought it was really interesting. I was in the first group of people to take that.
We could do that for the water.
So in that vein, yeah, like
Mhm.
something of that nature.
That's a good idea.
And then my only other one is, you were asking for ideas last time we were here about things to, as we look at green building closely, it increases the cost of construction, and yet we still ask for attainable housing. And how we balance that of, do you get some type of reduction in requirement? It's still very, very expensive to do most of the things we keep pushing.
But the
towards.
counter argument is we've had success on like Basalt Vista. Granted, the land was donated, so that takes a big cost away. But but I think it's a valuable discussion and thing to investigate.
I can tell you from experience, when it comes to environmental codes, at least in Pitkin County, they give you no quarter for affordable housing whatsoever. None. Affordable housing is development. And as such, you are held to the same standard as everybody else.
I just-
Becomes very unaffordable.
Yes, it makes developers look very poor. There's just no way for them to ever succeed if you want to entice, a PPP agreement or something in the future.
My current project is over $1 million a unit.
Yeah, it's,
But I would be intrigued if our friends across the street might have some answers for us.
yeah, again, it's just something to talk about throughout the next year or so. Would be-
I think it'd be interesting to see, because, the county and everywhere else, it tends to be, a zero-sum game, and it would be kind of, hey, if we can come up with a cool little idea, it could have big results.
Yeah, they even add new codes in the middle.
Well, and, maybe there are things too where maybe the green team incentivizes certain things and helps fund certain aspects of code requirements. The Inflation Reduction Act is gonna be a huge game changer for a lot of those issues.
Leaf collection scheduled, good to go?
The official dates are just about to be released.
Fair enough. Just want to make sure it's going.
They're tentatively penciled in for I think starting the last 2 weeks of this month.
Yeah.
For the next 6 weeks. Mhm.
Excellent. Other comments, questions, thoughts? If not, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn at 6:42.
Motion to adjourn.
Got a first, we have a second?
I'll second.
Second from Cindy, all in favor?
Yeah.
We're adjourned. Nice short
That
meeting.
said, what's the date of our next meeting? I'm not sure if
2
I'm gonna be
weeks.
here.
The 18th.
The 18th, I'm